I never believed silence could have wait until the night everything collapsed. It started like any normal evening. I came home expecting routine, familiar comfort, the soft rhythm of a life I thought I understood. But something felt off the moment I stepped inside. The house was too quiet. Not peaceful quiet, but empty quiet. The kind that presses against your chest before your mind even understands why. Her shoes were by the door, perfectly placed. Too perfect. Like someone had corrected reality. I stood there longer than I should have, listening for anything that would make the feeling go away. A voice, a TV, a movement, nothing. Then I saw the bedroom door, slightly open, a thin line of light spilling out like a secret refusing to stay contained, and then I heard it, a voice, not hers alone, another presence inside. My body didn't move for a moment. It was like time paused just long enough for truth to decide whether I was ready for it. I was, but truth never waits for readiness. I pushed the door open. And everything I believed about my life ended in that instant. She was there, my wife, the person I trusted more than anyone in the world, but she wasn't alone in meaning. She was alone in betrayal. The second she saw me, there was no shock on her face. No panic, no guilt, just calm, controlled calm, like she had already imagined this moment and rehearsed surviving it. That was my first real realization. She wasn't caught, she was prepared. "I can explain," she said immediately, but her voice didn't carry explanation. It carried distance. Like she had already emotionally left the room long before I entered it. I didn't answer, because in that moment I realized something far more painful than betrayal itself. She wasn't afraid of losing me. She was only afraid of being exposed too early. "You're home early," she added. That sentence hit harder than anything else. Not because of what it said, but because of what it revealed. I wasn't interrupting guilt. I was interrupting planning. Something in me shifted that night. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. Like a door closing inside my chest. I didn't shout. I didn't ask questions, because I already knew questions were no longer useful. The truth wasn't hiding anymore. It had already been living in front of me. I stepped back without speaking and left the room. Behind me, she said my name once. I didn't respond. Because the version of me that would have responded was already gone. That night I didn't sleep. I just lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying everything I had ignored. The late nights. The phone turned away from me, the sudden distance that I excused as stress. The way she stopped sharing her thoughts but never stopped smiling. It all made sense now, not as confusion, as pattern. And patterns are never accidents. They are choices repeated. The next morning I didn't confront her. That would have been emotional, and emotion was exactly what she expected. Instead, I became silent, observant, detached. I started watching everything. And once you start watching, you begin to see what love once made you blind to. Her phone became an extension of her hand. Her smile changed depending on who she was speaking to. She started leaving more often, but never with real explanation. And most importantly, she stopped looking at me directly when she spoke. Not because she was afraid, but because she no longer needed connection to maintain appearance. Days passed like that. Tension without confrontation, truth without confession. Until I found what I wasn't supposed to find. A second phone, hidden in a place only someone who no longer expects trust would think to hide it. I didn't need to unlock it for long. I didn't need much, just enough. Messages, plans, meetings. A second life being constructed carefully beside the one I was still living in. And the worst part wasn't even betrayal, it was efficiency. This wasn't emotional confusion. This was organized replacement. My name appeared in conversations like an inconvenience, like something they were managing around. Not a human being, not a husband. An obstacle, something broke inside me that day, but not what she would have expected. I didn't explode, I didn't collapse, I stabilized. Because once pain becomes too sharp, it stops being emotional and becomes strategic. From that moment, I stopped being a husband. I became something quieter, something she couldn't read anymore. I acted normal at home, I spoke calmly, I even smiled when needed, and that confused her, because she expected breakdown, but I gave her nothing. People like her don't fear confrontation. They fear unpredictability, so I let her believe she was still in control, and while she believed that, I collected everything: patterns, proof, timing, behavior. She grew careless faster than I expected. Confidence always returns first when guilt is ignored. She began taking calls in open spaces. She stopped hiding messages carefully. She stopped looking over her shoulder. She believed I had accepted reality, but I was only documenting it. Then came the day I learned she planned to leave. Not emotionally, physically. A clean exit was already prepared. A new place, a new beginning, a life designed without me in it. And the most dangerous part, she believed she deserved it, but she made one mistake. She underestimated silence. So I didn't stop her. I let everything move exactly as she planned. Because truth is most powerful when it arrives after someone believes they've already won. The night she packed, the house felt different. Not loud, not emotional, final. She moved around the room carefully, almost peacefully, like she wasn't destroying a life, just organizing belongings. I stood in the hallway watching her, not interfering, not speaking. When she finally noticed me, she paused. "You're not going to say anything?" she asked. I looked at her for a long moment, then shook my head. "No," I said calmly. "I already did." She frowned, but she didn't understand yet, because she still thought truth was something spoken, not something executed. The next morning, everything began to collapse, not because I exposed her loudly, but because truth doesn't need volume, it only needs direction. The second phone, the messages, the planning, the timeline, everything reached places she never considered, including the person she thought would replace me. And that's where her certainty finally broke, because betrayal always assumes control. Until consequences remove it. She tried calling. No answer. She tried going out. Plans changed. She tried explaining. No one was listening anymore. Because trust, once broken, doesn't collapse immediately. It collapses everywhere at once. That night she returned home different, not confident, not controlled, empty in a way she couldn't disguise. "What did you do?" she asked quietly. I stood facing her. Calm, stable, no anger, no hatred, just closure forming in real time. "I didn't destroy anything," I said. "I just stopped protecting what was already gone." Silence followed, heavy, unavoidable. She finally sat down like the weight of everything had arrived all at once. "I didn't think you'd find out like this," she said. I nodded slightly. "That was your mistake." She looked up. "And my second mistake?" she asked softly. I glanced toward the door. "Thinking loyalty can stay hidden forever." That was the last real conversation we ever had. I left soon after, not in rage, not in revenge, but in clarity, because revenge is not about destruction. It is about recognition. Recognizing when something no longer belongs in your life and refusing to carry it forward. As I walked away from that house, I finally understood something important. She didn't just lose a husband. She lost the only person who believed in the version of her she pretended to be. And I didn't lose anything, because what she hid, I no longer wanted.